We used to sit around tables and rap about the process of measuring the earth in its many angles. A required class no one enjoyed, but over time, all passed, failed, or dropped like a pass through the hands, or slipped through the halls, or a striped ball into a pocket. We hustled up a few pool sticks, muscled up from out of an outline of chalk, a number of cues. Those we remembered had gone too soon, those that were born again, and those who had taken to the streets and called it their own, as if they or he or she owned it. We taped laminated angles to a restored pool table that for years had been broken in by amateurs and auteurs and authors. Pros and cons, we salvaged whatever resources to triangulate and bookmark more than we could shelve to explore what there was to navigate, tilling sail windward as one might till land. If one had need of a Chromebook for research, one could have borrowed from the extras at the TED Talks station. If another had need of stationery, another could have exchanged another's identification for what another needed, as we dug with golden shovels, keys to the colors. We listened to LibriVox recordings, one of Anthem, discussed what God is and who God is, debated why the white Q strikes the black 8 ball and where the paper was and who was making it or burning through it, increasing methane in the atmosphere and melting the Arctic glaciers. One relayed the gospel of the Son of Mary, the one rejected from the canon said, "Before Jesus was crucified, he and Mary had a baby." I mentioned the Last Temptation of Christ. No one had watched it. Another added that crystals affect equilibrium, that crystal correlates to another's astrology, and the way in which crystal is held reveals something astronomical about what another is pregnant with. One joined the conversation minutes later, quoted Bruce Lee, said, "Be like water," or a mirror. Another said, "True. Life is a chess game in which one and another, separate but together, deploy." Another questioned the invisible guest in every room about heaven and its location. A few would have rather had a mansion or a quadruplex for wives. They said knowledge returns to itself like a snake eating its tail. One added that Ethan is ether in a film called Predestination, and that film could be screened so that all could see that Ekam could be a forefather in the mythology of mankind. Another said parallelism. A second later, a second, string theory. One sang Baduism on and on and on and on. One was as black is. One turned to his brown friend, who was as black as white is, and said, "You feel that?" Another didn't feel a thing in the cold, while the squirrel outside the modular shivered. I quoted, "If money makes a man strange, we got to rearrange that," and introduce them to De La Soul. One said the spoils of war are for the victor, but that the victim, if a victim, should get loose of bondage. I gave them an online dictionary word of the year, identity. Posed the question, does the personal multiply? Could it scale the universal? "I'm not the same with y'all as I am with my family," one answered. "Everyone is that way," one said. "Not everyone," another interjected. Another folded a square within a square and spun the outside square clockwise and the inside square counterclockwise. One reported what he had read in an article about a yantra. Another acknowledged, made a figure 8 as it went round and round, that even triangles within a yantra make a circle. "True story," I said, thinking of upward and outward mobility and spiral grouping. "I hadn't thought about it that way," another said, "but that is why I don't fuck with the Illuminati." "Me either," one agreed. Two went to the girls' bathroom. Another championed direction and honesty. "It is better to get straight to the point, be blunt," she said. Well, truth is not only what someone wants to hear, it could be harmful, like, what happened in Plato's cave or like in the church parking lot last week. It never is, always, but it is, one added. Just saying, we got to love one another. That is the only way. That too is De La Soul. I said, John 3:16. Some believed the family of Imran 392. Some dismissed theology altogether. 3 stood up over the pool table. 1 caught an angle and prepared to break.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
My beloved student kept a pencil in his ear, a razor beneath his tongue. He wrote, like a boy born 10 years my senior, and mumbled. On marble and stone and indigo blue, tagged his moniker and caused collisions. Hard living, he told me, shaking his head like a can of spray paint, eyes redder than thunderbolt. Yet he burned through books like gasoline caught in crossfire. That's a start, I told him, but some were too much of a match. Where stomachs balloon from malnutrition, hunger is a hawk, and one needs gall to clip its claws. The most generous for him was making sure his brother was fed. Where gangs of truants post on street corners, where lighters hover under spoons, and dilated pupils look like saucers, where human fecal matter soils landscape and dilapidated houses fold in on themselves, where one man's wealth is another man's junk. He saw opportunity. He saw an end game. I saw his face on the extra large shirt drowning a girl. I swallowed the courage to know what happened. The worry festered in my stomach like an ulcer. I needed answers. I needed someone to comfort me, to keep my mouth closed. I was asking for trouble, passing through neighborhoods as naked as a newt, a little green in a blue or red district.